With the 2020 election on the horizon, a lot of questions are being raised about the state of American democracy. Does the American model work? Democrats are probably wondering whether Russia will interfere with the election, let alone the American people. For the sake of this channel, I think an important question is, are elections fair? Or are they up in the air? These are some of the questions looming over the heads of many. Despite the doom and gloom, I believe there's a solution to the degradation of America's democracy. If you want to learn more about our current election system and how we can not only transform our election process, but America's democracy, stay tuned for this episode of... Hi, I'm Jarrell Corley, host of The Independent, and on today's episode, I will be discussing the differences between open and closed primaries. First, let's start with a definition. Closed primaries are a primary election where a voter must be a registered member of a political party prior to the election date in order to participate in that party's primary. So, why are closed primaries unfair? In short, they restrict voter participation. 1, you must be in a party. And 2, it disenfranchises voters. Supporters of closed primaries argue that only party members have a right to elect party nominees. Proponents of closed primaries also believe open primaries would allow non-party members to sabotage the nominating process. These supporters also don't believe that closed primaries disenfranchise non-party members. Because if party members want to vote, then they should join a party. These same people also believe closed primaries don't produce more ideological, extreme nominees, and that public funding should be allowed to fund closed primaries. These arguments are just fine if you believe in an outdated system that serves the interest of the parties, which are private establishments, and not that of the public. However, more Americans are self-identifying as independent, 42% to be exact, according to a January 2020 Gallup poll. Americans as a whole are even becoming apathetic towards elections. This is a proven fact by that only 25% of voters participate in the primary election, which determines the outcome of the general election 90% of the time. So in this system of closed primaries projecting much doom and gloom, is there a solution to this jury issue that is the downfall of American democracy? I believe so. The answer is open primaries. What is the difference between closed and open primaries? Time for another definition. Open primaries are a primary election that does not require voters to be a registered member of a particular party in order to participate in that party's primary. There would be only one ballot and voters can vote for whichever candidate they choose. Unlike proponents of closed primaries, open primary proponents believe closed primaries disenfranchise voters. As a matter of fact, 25 million voters were excluded from the 2016 presidential primaries. Open primaries allow these voters to participate without declaring a political party. Proponents of closed primaries believe only party members should elect the party's nominee. The only issue with this philosophy is the nominee represents all voters, not just those inside the party. With independents being the largest growing group of voters in the country, it is time to change the primary system and make it more inclusive of America's largest voter base. Secondly, primaries are taxpayer funded and should be open to anyone and everyone allowed to vote. At the very least, if the two major parties, which are private organizations, want to host closed primaries, they should pay for the primaries themselves. Supporters of open primaries also believe closed primaries produce more ideologically extreme candidates. During the primaries, only 25% of all eligible voters vote, and these voters tend to be more ideologically extreme. Thus, candidates are really appealing to these limited number of voters rather than a broader base of voters. Wonder why some extreme candidates do really well in the beginning of the primary and then tank towards the end? That's why. Furthermore, if you monitor elections, you'll notice candidates tone down their opinions as they are looking to appeal to a broader base of voters, because more people are participating as the election transforms from the primary to the general election. Lastly, independents believe party candidates serve the interest of the party over the people. Open primaries would allow candidates to more openly speak from the heart and run on platforms that they actually believe in rather than what the party dictates. Primary elections also determine the winner of the general election in certain congressional districts more likely than not. When you have a smaller percentage of the voter turnout, less voters are represented by the candidate who wins the primary and advances to the general election. When more voters vote, the candidate represents more of the voter base. Why shouldn't this be a good thing? Finally, sabotage is not likely. Supporters of open primaries believe non-party members can somehow sabotage the election. Some believe members of another party can organize its voters to vote for the weaker candidate in the primary that will lose the general election. Large amounts of people have a hard time organizing and syncing their actions in the wide open. I doubt this sort of conspiracy could successfully be carried out under the radar without being uncovered. This opinion of opposition also negates the fact that people actually vote for the candidates they like and who align most with their views. There you have it. The difference between our current primary system and a possible solution to more open, competitive, and fairer primaries. This is America, land of the free. Thus, limited rules for voter participation need to be in effect. If you agree, please hit the like button below and remember to subscribe if you want to receive notifications about new video posts. Until next time, and remember, free the voters.